Hello everyone. Today I thought of sharing with you a topic on someone which requested on, which is about what really happened after the awakening. It seems like many people are very curious and wants to know what really happened after the awakening. And each time I share this, I always remember this story. It's a Zen story where someone really inquired from a Zen master what happened after the Enlightenment. What he shared is, he said that before the Enlightenment, what he did was he chopped wood, he carried water from the well, and he cooked in the ashram. And he said after the awakening, after the Enlightenment, he chopped wood, carried water from the well, and he cooked in the ashram. So basically I also can share the same thing. I had the same lifestyle, and yet I know that the person who wanted to know what really happened is not that they want to know what really subtle distinctions that happened. So therefore I thought I just thought of sharing what really happened inside me. Basically this kind of a conversation happens between the teacher and the student. It's very rare someone share their experience after the awakening. So I think hope it will benefit you. So I will share some of the subtle distinctions that happen inside me. The biggest distinction I could say, I stopped seeking. After the awakening, I found what I was seeking, and I found myself. And once I got it, obviously my seeking stopped. That is one of the biggest distinction I could see, because I had a very big identity around a spiritual seeker. And when that identity was dissolving, I really felt that, because I sort of enjoyed the whole seeking process, because I felt like it was like a treasure hunt. Sometimes I got some answers or clues from a book, and then from a teacher or from a movie. And I sort of enjoyed the process. And once I stopped seeking, I sort of missed that whole seeking, because I truly enjoyed that too. So that is one of the biggest distinction I could say, that the seeker identity got dissolved and I no longer was seeking. That doesn't mean that I stopped reading books or I stopped listening to something spiritual. But the reason now I listen is just to enjoy, just for the enjoyment of it. Not that I'm seeking something, So that very clearly that dissolved. I no longer was seeking anything, because I got what I was seeking. So yeah. And another subtle distinction I could say, I felt very deep contentment that I've never experienced in my entire life. Because I always was trying to fill that void inside me, fill that emptiness I felt. I have shared even my binge eating story where, so that was my whole journey, but like in the awakening I felt so deeply content that I can't even express that in words. And I'd never felt that before, ever. Ever. I felt so complete and fulfilled. Yeah. That is another distinction I could say, because I've never experienced that before. And another thing which happened after the awakening was I had so many questions about what is happening here, what is it all about, and I had so many questions about life. But suddenly I realized that all the questions dissolved in the awakening. And I was like, that's it. That's it. You know, at that time, all that questions that I had about life, all that disappeared. Because each time when we ask from anyone about something about life, that one question leads to another question, it goes on. It's just like that I also had so many questions about this life. But at that time, all that questions become so irrelevant and it all dissolved. And I found that's interesting. I didn't have any question after the awakening. It's like, that's it. That's it. How can there be any other question? Yeah. And another distinction I could say that I felt this deep oneness with everything and everyone. We are all connected the whole time. And I realized for the first time the other is yourself, literally. Not in a pretending fake way, but genuinely I realized other person is myself. The whole time it was the case. But I was living upside down thinking other is separate from me and I have a whole competition to like show who I am and all that. So that is also something new, because previously it was all about, life is all about like very self-biased towards you. What is it in for me? It was always the case. If COVID happened, how does that affect Dilmi's life? If I have this relationship, how that benefits Dilmi's life? It was all about Dilmi, you know? Nothing else. Now when I had a completely different perspective. You know, in your life, you can even see for yourself, it's all about you. Whatever happens, it's based on you. Your perspective is always based on me. What is it in for me? How does that affect me? So for the first time I realized genuinely like other is myself the whole time. And I felt very deep love towards other, like a deep, true love, like a real caring, not something fake or pretending. Because if you see now in charity, most of the people who do charity, it's mostly that they do that for their ultimately fulfill their own egos. 'Cause that's how anyone who operates with the ego. It's not really about the other, mostly. Only a self-realized person truly can do charity, I could say. That's the truth. So for the first time I realized this whole oneness, and it's a whole new upgrade of my perspective. It's not just intellectual, it's like a realization. That's the difference. And that was very new to me. Because I always before the awakening I felt like other is separate, of course. But this was a completely different perspective, I could say. Like it's a complete shift inside me. So that's another distinction I could say. And then the next distinction I could say is my senses, it became very sharp. The reason why it became very sharp is like I was living in the now the whole time. In the past, it was like a whole new struggle for me to live in the now because I watched many spiritual teachers and that's what they say, that be in the now and try to be in the now and it's all perfect then. And I also did there was a complete struggle for me to be in the now. But here I am effortlessly in the now. There was another change, I could say, which happened after the awakening. I was not even trying, it was completely effortless. And in the past, I remember still like trying to be in the now, like listening to the humming of the air conditioner and at the same time listening to the lecturer because I want to be in the now. So there was a whole new struggle. I remember I completely missed the lecture because I was trying to be in the now, trying to practice these spiritual practices. But here I am, effortlessly in the now. Yeah, that's another thing I've noticed. And also since I was in the now, my senses became very sharp. When I eat food, I could have an orgasm just by eating food. Like I felt so heavenly. And I started seeing colors of the trees, like the leaves, the green color, which I've never seen in my entire life. So all my senses become very sharp. That is something I've noticed. Yeah. And also I could say that majority of my conditioning dissolved. To be honest, that was happening like the whole time in my journey. I was like, my conditioning was dissolving, of course. But here I was like, I felt, to be very honest, I still remember, even in the sleep, I felt like my brain get rewired. Literally, I felt that way. I still remember I was like very lucid, and then I feel like my brain is rewiring. So I could say the majority of my conditioning dissolved, but at the same time, even after the awakening, I realized there was some conditioning which were like, imagine I had like strong conditioning. We all have them, like very ingrained conditioning. So for example, my strength and the weakness is when it comes to relationships, because I'm very sensitive with that area. So there was some conditioning which dissolved. I remember I had a really major, like a deconditioning happened in 2021 September. So you can see even after 2019 November I had the awakening, and 2021 September I had a major dissolvement of that conditioning. You can see after 2 years. I think it still continues if there are major conditioning like that. Honestly, in this path, I always felt like I was becoming a new person because I was releasing conditioning. I always felt like the 1 week before, like 1 month before, like the Dilmi is completely different after another 1 month. So I was completely becoming like a brand new person. Because you're dissolving, you're releasing your conditioning. And also don't expect for you to be in the same way, in the same comfort zone, and also to realize that the truth, that doesn't work. That doesn't work, don't even try that. Yeah. So of course there was a very, I could say, big deconditioning happened, and it still continued to happen, I could say. Yeah. And also I realized after the awakening, I was doing things which are very essential. All this stupid stuff that I was doing were just like dropped on its own. I was doing only the essentials. It was very clear, like I was doing things only the essentials. There was another thing that I noticed in my life. I wasn't doing anything extra, but only the essential stuff in my life. That's another thing I've noticed. Yeah. And also after the awakening, like some people recognized that there's a huge shift in me, because those who were very close to me could see there's like a completely different shift inside me. And also after I started coaching, I saw like many people are getting transformed, and also many feels my energy and they also get into deeper states. And also some are getting healed just by being in presence. Those were new, I could say. Yeah. I didn't even expect. And some people said that just by being in my presence, or like just by reading my books, they were in a heightened state, and they felt so calm and relaxed. And some said they feel so happy. Oh yeah. But I'm sure that I'm triggering many other people too. But yeah, anyway. So that's another something new which I noticed, because I felt like there was something new, and I was also enjoying the whole coaching process, because like people were getting transformed and feeling what I'm experiencing. Some people, they feel that deep states. So yeah. Basically what happened is I stopped. My run has stopped. You know, people are running after money, prestige, power, many things, or relationships. And also, like, another crowd of people are running after enlightenment, meditation, peace of mind. The same run, you know, the same run, same greed. So I could say that I stopped. That is basically what happened. I mean, when I say I stopped, there's a story that I reminded of from the scriptures called Angulimala. And there's this man, as a challenge, what he did was like he wanted to collect 1,000 fingers on his neck. This is a story from the scriptures. So he was collecting these fingers from people. Like what he does is he just kill people, and then they cut their fingers and put it on his neck, which is a weird practice. And one day he was going after to kill his own mother to get these fingers. And at that time, Buddha was passing by, and he saw the whole thing. And then the Angulimala saw the Buddha was passing by, and then rather than running after his own mother, he started running after the Buddha. And then somehow, like, as per the scriptures, it says that he was running after the Buddha, but he couldn't really catch hold of him. And then he says that, "Stop, can you stop, please?" And then the Buddha said something interesting. He said, "I have already stopped. Why don't you stop?" Just by hearing those words, he just realized this truth. You can see even murderers can realize this truth. I feel the same way that after the awakening, I was like, this is so simple and it's so obvious. How come everyone doesn't get this? That's why in the past, those murderers and prostitutes and people who cleaned toilets, those who didn't even know any knowledge, realized this truth. So it's very simple. Some people realized it just by looking at like dead leaves dropping from the trees. Just seeing that, they realized it. It's just simple. I felt the same way, so I could say what I was sharing is that I also stopped. My run has stopped. I also someone who run after meditation and all that, and that dissolved. So that basically what happened after the awakening. And So I hope these are the basically what really I could say main distinctions I felt. And is it over? Is it over? Is it that's it? I don't know. I'm curious. I know there'll be, if there's any conditioning which needs to dissolve, it will happen. And I feel that I'm going deeper and deeper into the truth. And so yeah, that's about it. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And have a great day and take care.